Got to go clean erasers. We were talking about erasers, and he showed us where the machine was, and so it's humble that education was the foundation of our family, but we didn't have a lot growing up monetarily. But I don't think we ever felt totally that way, because this was the place that my family, both my parents are graduates of East Aurora High School. My cousins, Callista and Mary, are, my sister Beth, and I'm the youngest. But and then that was not the high school. I went to the high school on Center Street, but East Aurora has always felt like home. And even though I've lived my husband and I, Ian was born in Morgantown. We've lived in West Virginia. When you say we're going home, just last year Jeff said, "Why do you always say when we go to East Aurora we're going home?" And because this feels like home. And I was really blessed. I think I'm young enough that I was of the generation of women where I wasn't discouraged from doing anything. And to the students, I'm a math science person. And I remember one summer I was doing the East Aurora census, and I went to the middle school, and the secretary, who I don't remember her name, but I remember very importantly a conversation that she looked at me and she said, "Wow, you can do anything you want." And so I think for my mother it was either being a nurse or a teacher, and for me it was that I wanted to teach, but I was going to go beyond that. And so I feel that my family always encouraged. My grandmother Bechtel, who was a much beloved teacher also at Parkdale, really instilled in both my sister and I the value that we were going to college. My parents did too, but I think it was my grandmother Bechtel who really said, you're going on. And my father was a brilliant man, not very successful, but a brilliant man, and was a stickler about perfection and the details. And we both, Beth and I, have gotten that ability. But my mother was the one who just said, "You got to get the job done." And so I have both those traits in me from my parents. And I've been very blessed. And I'm a pediatrician, and I've cared for patients for over 30 years. It's been a gift, a real privilege. But I teach, and my other colleague and I, who's a little more senior, we're told that we're intimidating now, and I'm like, how? But I think that what I've been explained to me is that I have a high standard, and I expect a lot, and I think that some people may find that intimidating because I don't accept if someone doesn't know something or the mediocre. And I got that from my family, from East Aurora. So this is a real honor and a privilege, and I hope I'm deserving, but thank you very much.
Our next awardee, Bill Nye, will be introduced by the dynamic duo of Alex and Adam Nye.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, what's up? So I'm here to introduce my dad and talk about his 40-year police career. So if you could remember way back in the day when he first started, East Aurora was a total dump, crime infested. Just ask Rob Goller, the town historian. He's here. He'll corroborate. Apparently we had a stalker problem too, but anyway. So early in my dad's career, there was a tragedy that a father was killed by a drunk driver on his way home from his daughter's rehearsal dinner. And at that point, my dad actually dedicated himself to stopping DUIs and helping the community. And they actually said he arrested so many DUI, had so many DUI arrests, he alone had more than the rest of the department. And word on the street was that he would arrest his own mom. He was also the first DARE officer in New York State, but also one of a couple on this side of the Mississippi River. So he also, as you see, he organized a big event to the Soviet Union. It was the first U.S. law enforcement visit. This was back in 1989, so it was not Russia. It was indeed Soviet Union. My dad, to his credit, never brought work home. Work would show up at the home, though. And so we would have visitors, we'd have phone calls. But he treated everybody fairly, and that's why the one lady who liked to talk about the aliens would show up pretty regularly, because he was fair. And I know he was fair because people he arrested would come up to me and, you know, when you live here and my dad's arrested everybody, they said, you know, he arrested me, but I still like your dad. And so, you know, and he also saved a few lives in his career. One of them is actually sitting right over there. He celebrates a birthday tomorrow, so glad you're still with us, Geef. But ultimately, the only words that I prepared aren't mine, and they're from 1989, and I just want to read them quickly. This is about the visit after they returned from the Soviet reunion. It said, Lieutenant Nye acted as our spokesperson during the tour, and I was impressed with his sincerity. I'll get through this. And professional pride. He was a gentleman, a leader, and our guardian during 2 arduous weeks. The KGB actually followed him around on this visit. Bill worked hard to show American law enforcement at its best in human terms. He was to be one of the most genuinely caring people I've ever met, and he impressed both his peers and his Soviet counterparts with his heartfelt kindness. Damn, I didn't expect this. Said, in closing, I would ask you to pass on to your municipal council my sincere praise of Lieutenant Bill Nye. You gotta stop the camera. Whatever you are doing in East Aurora must be the right thing if Lieutenant Nye is an example, because he represents what is good in American law enforcement.
Thank you. I've got my glasses because I've been thinking about this for a few weeks, dreaming about it, like I think others have. And why would I get emotional? I don't know. Let me read what I wrote, and then we'll go from there. First, I wish to thank the committee for this honor. I'm embarrassed in a way, but I really appreciate the honor, and I thank you, this committee. To my family, our friends, I thank you for your continued support during the ups and downs of a police career. To the community for their support of the department and our ideas for keeping people safe, for working with community policing, which is basically the cops getting to know the people the cops, and it makes working for everyone much easier. And to the department I served, some are not with us any longer, but to the officers, dispatchers, crossing guards, someone had a crossing guard relative here. They're really important. Crossing guards are truly important. To my secretary, Nancy Westfalls, who passed away, but I realized that towards the end of my career how important she was. I mean, she knew how things really worked in that office and really, kept me on the straight and narrow. And one more thank you I wrote, to the East Aurora Advertiser, and especially Sarah Foster and Karen Albright. They made me look good in print, and I'll explain that. Karen Albright, when she was the editor, had a weekly column, the chief's column or something, and I would give her ideas. She made it sound, because if I wrote it, people wouldn't read it. And Sarah Foster, who did very similar things, this is from 1999. It was a publication they put in the Advertiser. And what it did, and I'm not going to bore you with everything, it had a little something nice, a lot of ads. But it had, I won't open it, it had pictures of the officers, the dispatchers, the crossing guards, so that the people that got the Advertiser got to know who was there. And our intent, I've often said that, police work is maybe 20% enforcement and 80% almost like social work, working with the community. I'm going to talk about the school second, and I just wanted to, Alex pretty much did the career, so I won't go into it. The one thing I truly enjoyed, and probably in a selfish way, back in 1994, our department was given a COPS FAST grant, which was 3 years of hire an officer, the federal government would pay for 3 years half the salary, which was great. You got an officer in, you had a guarantee you kept them during that period. You couldn't lay them off or something like that. So I got to go to Washington. I met President Clinton and the vice president, and it was like a dream come true in a way for somebody in my position. I was just very fortunate. And now, back to my school days. And I think it's important that I talk about when I was a kid. My father had a stroke in the late 40s. I was born in 1945. I'm a war baby. And he had a stroke. And back in those days, there was no safety net. Oh, you can't come to work? That's too bad. It was it. So those years were sort of difficult. But as a kid, I never knew we were poor. I had no idea. We didn't have. I was very fortunate with my parents, and I went to school in Clarence. I went to West Seneca. I went to Buffalo. I went to Howard. And then I came to East Aurora, say in 6th grade. Had Mr. Mills as my teacher, and then as things worked out, I want to just. I'm getting off script here, I'm sorry. I want to just mention a few of the teachers who truly meant something to me and the whys of it. My father was ill in September of '62, and believe it or not, I was a senior in an algebra class. I think they take algebra in 6th grade now or something. Back when I was in school, we had the junior high school and the high school, so which I think is a better idea than currently, but that's only my thought. So I was a senior in a 10th grade math algebra class, not doing well in those first few weeks, and Mr. Harold Boniface, he was a new teacher. He, as the end of class, about the 2nd or 3rd week, and he calls me aside, and I know he wants to read the riot act on me, I can tell, and he starts very, so I told him of what was going on at home, and my father ended up passing away a couple of weeks later, but totally switched, helped me. I had to have a half-year credit to get out of school. And he became a friend. So I truly, truly appreciate what the man did as a teacher, as a support. There were others, Mr. Henry, Mrs. Thomason, someone mentioned erasers. If you were in the back of the class, you might have an eraser go by your head. I don't think you could do that now. Maybe there aren't erasers, I don't know. But to my knowledge, she never struck anyone. But she got the attention. So she was one of my favorite teachers. Mr. Beauvais in the electrical shop. That's when high school over here. The shops were in the basement. Mr. Palmer, Coach Young, Coach Dressler, Miss Brunk, and our teacher. So there were many, many people. And Mr. Lawson, who I always thought was principal, but he was like in charge of pupil personnel services. Towards the end of my junior year, he came to me and he said they're going to try a new program in the school. And what it was, you'd go to school half a day, work the other half. And Fisher Price was part of this. And so that summer, I became the first office boy at Fisher Price Toys. I actually saw Mr. Price walk in with his big coat and his hat, Mr. Fisher, who was there every day. So this started my working career, 90 cents an hour. I worked for Mason Winfield, and that name must be familiar to most of you. That's Mason's father, was my first boss, and he gave me my first raise, and it meant a lot. Not only the finances, but the experience of being there. And the other thing that was, the school meant a great deal to me. Fisher Price meant a great deal, and the service from my father. Teachers were there. People from the office at Fisher Price were there. It was quite the honor. And this is quite the honor, and I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
I could listen to those stories all day, Bill. That was great. Thank you. Thank you. Our last awardee, Al Sleeper, will be presented by Debbie Sleeper and Nicole Fisher. And on behalf of Al, will be his daughter-in-law, Debbie, and granddaughter, Nicole. So everyone, Al Sleeper.
Wow, such pressure. Oh, so my name is Debbie, and I am Al's daughter-in-law. Kind of emotional, like everybody else.
There's something on the mic.
What?
There's something on the mic.
Yes. Unfortunately, Mark wasn't able to be here today due to a previous engagement. I know he would really want to be here to talk about his dad. Bob, too. So, from what I'm told, Al was fascinated with the works of Walter Jennings when he was in high school, who taught him the art of chasing and jewelry making, and that was the beginning of what is now known as the Aurora silversmith. I think I probably own one of the very first wedding bands that he made. So he made Mark and I's wedding bands along with my engagement ring. I think my very first piece of Al Sleeper jewelry was a small pair of heart earrings that Mark gave me when we first met. Okay, so Al was mostly self-taught. He became very involved with the Roycrofters at-large association, and then ultimately became the silversmith master craftsman. Ironically enough, when Al was in high school, he thought he would be following in his father's footsteps and become a bulldozer driver, and he was influenced by his industrial arts teacher at high school, who said, you have a special talent, you need to go on and go to college, and which he did. And like you've heard the story before, he was, of other recipients here, he came from a very poor family, and in order to pay for his education, he joined the ROTC and of the Air Force, and that's how he made it through college. And when he eventually retired from the Air Force, he retired as a lieutenant colonel. So he's a man of many talents. He taught industrial arts for 40 years at the Kenmore West Middle School. I guess he is really best known for his commemorative Snowflake. I have one on today. It's the gold variety. I guess I must like gold better than silver, but I have them all, as you might guess. And I think after knowing Al for more than 40 years, I think he would be very humbled receiving this award. I am not an East Aurora. I did not graduate from, I didn't grow up in East Aurora. I didn't graduate from East Aurora High School. But when I met Mark and learned about East Aurora, I really wanted to become a townie. So I kind of feel like a townie now. And when people ask, they hear what my last name is, and they're like, do you know Al Sleeper? And I'm like, I don't know. Why? But it's fun when people see or know who I am, and they'll say, oh, let me show you what Al made for me, or let me show you this. It's very heartwarming.
We like to hear the stories.
We do.
Yeah. People will tell us he made me something, and we get to hear the story about it. Almost, I would say 90% of the people that I meet that find out that I'm his granddaughter are, oh my gosh, he made me this, or that snowflake, it's beautiful. And my first response is to say, he probably designed that in church.
Doodling on the bulletin.
The bulletin.
So we are more than honored to receive this award, and I'm sad that my husband couldn't be here, or Bob, but here we are. Thank you.
I'll let you know that my wife, my mother, my aunts have all supported the family as well over the years. So, well, congratulations to all of our recipients. We're proud to count you as our alumni. Your achievements, your service, strength of character, inspire and challenge our students who are here today and some that you're going to meet in the near future. And you serve as role models for future graduates of East Aurora High School. At this time, I'd like to welcome our foundation president, Betsy Deckert-Boss, who has a few words.
It's a crowded room today. Hard to find a way to make it up here. Thanks, Bill, and congratulations once again to this year's inductees. This year's format is actually a little different than what we've done in the past. In the past, we've done a video about each of the alumni that have been recognized, and we changed it up this year. I just want to draw your attention to the programs that are at everybody's seat. And if you want to read more about everyone's accomplishments, it's written in there, and it's very, very impressive. So take the time to take a look at this, and you'll get some more insight into these alumni that are recognized today. It's also been very emotional. This has been such a great group of distinguished alumni. I'm really honored.
Good morning. I'm Brian Russ. I'm the superintendent in East Aurora School District, and I want to thank you for joining us today for the 2024 East Aurora High School Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame event. The district is very pleased to be collaborating with the East Aurora Educational Foundation for the presentation of these awards. I've always been so impressed with the inductees, and this year is no exception. But before we get started with today's presentation, I just want to take a moment to thank the foundation for their ongoing support of innovating programming throughout the district. They've donated more than $1 million to create programs like Blue Devil Design and Sustainable Agriculture, which you will see later today during your visit to the high school. These programs would not be possible without their hard work and dedication of the foundation. So without further ado, I will turn the program over to High School Principal Bill Roberts, who will introduce this year's recipients. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Wonderful to see so many familiar faces, and thank you, Superintendent Russ, for the introduction. The sun that is shining in on some of you is quite a blessing this morning. So makes it an extra special day if you're from out of town. We have not seen the sun at all this spring, and our our student athletes will tell you they've not had much time on the fields this spring. So hopefully this sun will dry it out for them. So a special day today, not only the ceremony, but also we are looking forward to hosting you at the high school and showing off some of those things that Mr. Russ mentioned a few minutes ago, and also introducing you to some of our students and sharing your stories and success with them. The East Aurora High School Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame Awards are presented annually to graduates whose achievement, service, and strength of character serve as role models to inspire and challenge our current students. And award recipients have achieved excellence and made significant contributions to their profession and their community. And this morning, we are proud to recognize and honor 5 such outstanding graduates of East Aurora High School. Our first inductee is Sue Brazil. And this is special to me, Sue, and I'm going off script here, so I apologize to the foundation. But when I started teaching at East Aurora High School many years ago, Sue, whether she knew it or not, was a role model for me in the way that she engaged with our students, our student athletes. And it was, as a young coach and a young teacher, that now reflecting back on it had quite an impact on me, and I want to express my appreciation for that. So we're fortunate to have Jim Brazil, who's going to introduce Sue Brazil as our Alumni Hall of Fame member.
Good morning, everyone. This is early. I forgot my glasses, so I'll do my best. As you may know, some of you may know, there was a great American sportsman and philosopher by the name of Yogi Berra. Some of you will know where this is going. And Yogi was famous for his yogi-isms, things he would make up, and we appreciate it. Like, nobody goes there anymore, it's always too crowded. Well, I made my own up for today. The less you say, the more you are heard. Think about it, because this is short. I've known Sue since we were 12 years old. I used to follow her home from school. I'm not sure she knew it, and but by today's standards, I would definitely be considered a stalker. But, in the end, persistence paid off. One of the ways to measure a person's accomplishments in life is their effect on others. It was never more true than in the case of Sue. Sue's life has been dedicated to service. Whether it be teaching, coaching, or volunteering, she always tried to be a positive influence by encouraging people to be the best they can be. She shows respect for others. She accepts people for who they are. She listens and is sensitive to their needs. She doesn't judge, but does her best to understand and help people when needed. She is a good friend and devoted to her family. I would say she is a success in life. I would like to introduce my wife, Sue Brazil.
I don't know that I can follow that. I'm sorry. I'm a little weepy. Thank you so much. Thank you, husband, so much. Boyfriend and partner in life. Just stay there. I wanted to thank the foundation first for this very, very nice award, and I'm so honored to receive it. I'm not thrilled to be the first one up here, but I want to tell you a very quick story. And this came to me in the middle of the night one night because I wasn't sure why I was going to be up here speaking to you this morning. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'm much better in front of a classroom, I'll tell you. When I was in 5th or 6th grade at Southside Elementary, which is now the Southside Commerce Center, the first floor was kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade. The second floor was 4th, 5th, 6th. Well, in 5th grade, you got to move down the hallway, and you didn't realize that there was a corner of the hallway that there was another class there. Had no idea it was there because you never went to the 2nd floor except to the library and then back downstairs. So one day, I'm out in the hallway, and I noticed this class, and so I kind of walked down, and I looked inside, and I thought, wow, this is very interesting. This is really, who are these people, and what are they doing here, and who are these children? So I went back to Mrs. Butlin, who I have to tell you was an inspiration to so many people, and I don't know if anybody here had Mrs. Butlin, but she was just fabulous. And I asked her, I said, there's a class down there, Mrs. Butlin. I've never seen them before, and I don't think those students come down to the lunchroom. What's going on? And she said, Sue, that's a special education class. That's Mrs. Carpenter's class. And I said, oh, well, why aren't they part of the school? And she said, well, they are, but they're there because they need that quiet space. She really didn't know what to say. And I said, oh, well, that doesn't seem fair. And she said, you're right, it's not. It's not fair. But it's part of them being in school is where they are right now. And I said, well, what can we do, Mrs. Butler? Mrs. Botlin, I want to meet some of them. So she said, Sue, there's only one thing that we can do right now, and you've already started that, and that is to make a difference. You want to make a difference. You would like to meet these children. I'm going to help you. So together, Mrs. Butlin and I made a introduction with Mrs. Carpenter and asked her if I could come down to her classroom a couple times a week and read to the children. And I was so excited. It was just the best thing that ever happened because I got to go back to my class and talk about what was down there and what was going on and what these children were learning. And it was the beginning for me. It was the beginning of what I knew I wanted to do. I wanted to make a difference. And so I hope that I've done that. I feel like I have a little bit, but, but I've got lots more to do because there's just so many other unfair things out there in the world to fix and make a difference in. When you're going to make a difference, you want to make a difference in a positive kind of way. And you hope that you can do that, and later on in your life, you'll be able to look back and say, wow, that's kind of cool. That's really kind of cool that I was able to be part of that. I want to tell you, first of all, Mr. Roberts, did you notice that the Shanahans are all here on time? No pink slips or blue slips or whatever those were this morning. First of all, I want to acknowledge my family. My family sitting over here are the most important people in my life, of course. Every one of them will someday be a distinguished alumni. I'm sure of it. I'm absolutely sure of it. You think so, Ed?
In our own way.
I know I only have 3 minutes, so I have to go quickly. But 3 o'clock in the morning for the last 2 weeks, because of this honor and because of what you've given me to think about, I have thought about how my life evolved and how from that day in 5th grade to now, I have been the luckiest person in the world to be able to live in East Aurora, go to East Aurora schools, and be part of the East Aurora school system as a teacher and a coach. I can't tell you how many wonderful memories I have, how many fantastic people I've met, and how many wonderful students and athletes that I have worked with that are now grown-up, wonderful human beings doing great things. There's a gentleman standing over there that I want to acknowledge, Martin Wanglin. I do. He chases me he's a stalker. Chases me all over taking pictures, but Marty's wife, Carol, was an inspiration to me. Marty's former wife, Carol, was at the library at the East Aurora High School, and she was someone who helped me start my coaching career. And she was inspirational in helping my girls get their first kilts, the wrestling team get all that they needed. She felt so strongly about our school system, our kids, and our generations to come. So I want to thank Marty for bringing Carol into my life and for all of you to being part of my life. Quickly back in the back, Liz, who got me started at Aurora Adult Day Services, and Jen, who started this award thing that makes me a little nervous. Make sure you tell Rick Oler that I said thank you, okay? Even though I'm a little angry with them. And where's Frank and Nancy Cerny, who started the Rural Outreach Center and invited me the 2 days after retirement into their inspirational organization, and what they are doing is fantastic, and I hope you all will come and visit us and see it. So I've started you all off now. I hope you do a little bit better job than I did. Thank you so very much.
Sue was so uncomfortable that she left the award up here. Just think, Sue, when you come to the high school and visit us, you will be forever on our wall, right? So that was well done. Beautiful job. All right, our next awardee, Christine Estabrook, will be introduced by Kim Hicks.
Good morning. I met Chris in the mid-1990s through her brother Bill. She was living and working in LA back then, so I didn't see her a lot, but whenever her name would come up, people would tell me how funny she was. So I discovered that myself when I was watching a new show she was in, where she played Mary Todd Lincoln. There's a scene where she was in a bathtub, and when she reached her arms up to scrub her back, she had stuck patches of thick dark hair under her arms. And the next time I saw her, I mentioned how funny that was and how hard it made me laugh, and she said she was just fooling around during rehearsal and had done that for a laugh, and that the director was very upset with her for the disturbance. But when it came time to film the scene, he said, leave it in. So the show didn't last, but she went on to perform in many more comedic as well as dramatic roles, and she's been entertaining us for years and certainly deserves this recognition. She'll continue to entertain us in June when she directs Death Trap for Aurora players, so I hope we'll see you all there. Chris?
What? Oh, yeah, the picture. That's me. Oh, thank you. Oh, my gosh. Can everybody see this? It's a plaque. It's cool. Anyway, thank you for this honor. I'm going to start getting emotional because I never play myself. Hans Zimmer, have you seen it? It's on Netflix. It's a great documentary about Hans Zimmer. And he is a musical director. He writes the music for many, many films that you probably would not know he's the writer of. But he does, anyway, the musical, forget it, I'm old. The musical what? Score, yeah, that's what he does. And he said everyone owes a lot to everybody in life. And I want to say that I owe a lot, especially to my friends, my high school friends, Brad, Cece, and Deb. I know. Brad and Cece I was in a group with in high school, and Deb was my best friend in 3rd grade. I used to go to her house all the time and open her refrigerator because we had no food at home. So, and then G and David and Melissa and my namesake Chris Estabrook and Vera and Kevin and Kim, of course, who announced me, and Lori, and of course Brittany, who came to my house. I forget why. And what is it? What is theater? Why did I fall in love with theater? Why do we need it at all? I mean, I've always felt that it was the desire for communication between a message that is carried through real space to a waiting receptor. Therefore, the actor's relationship to other actors, to the audience, is created in real time, in real space. It can't be duplicated. The actor is in charge, really, and can happen, whatever happens on stage, which they wait for because the director can't stop the show. It is priceless in its value of a man looking at mankind. At its best, it is a reflection of the soul of man, a reflection of the process of balancing our needs and wants with our morality. Theater gives a gentle nudge. It lures the viewer into a safe place of contemplation and excites the spirit to expand its boundaries on what it means to live. Honestly, I went to LA to make a good pension. No, don't do anything based on that, I'm joking. Time is too short. I remember, I have something, Mr. Zaccardi teaching me the mole, he told me to stay after, and I don't remember what the mole is, but I remember my mind clicking into place and going, I get it. It was an amazing feeling, and I wanted to create that in other people so that they get that amazing feeling of being active on stage. Thank you all for this honor again. And as Hans Zimmer says, life isn't as long as you think, right? And don't lose your playfulness. Okay, thank you very much.
Chris, I'm looking forward to you sharing that energy with our students in a little bit this morning. They're gonna love you. No. All right, our next awardee is Catherine Moffett, who will be introduced by Ian Bradford.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I get the absolute pleasure of introducing my mom, Dr. Moffett. And what a crazy full circle moment this is, because Kathy and her sister Beth actually used to own and live in the gift shop here at the Roycroft decades ago. So what a fitting place to be enshrined here. And the founder of the Roycroft, Albert Hubbard, the reason that we get to share this beautiful space together this morning was a philosopher and a writer, and has a quote that stuck with me over the years that goes, "We awaken in others the same attitude of mind that we hold towards them." We awaken in others the same attitude of mind that we hold towards them. And I think that Dr. Moffett does this quote best through the way that you bring strength and courage out of all the pediatric patients that you work with in challenging times in West Virginia, the way that you challenge your students intellectually. I have lots of friends that have passed through our classes, and they say, "Oh my God, she is the hardest professor I've ever had," but the best one I have ever had. The way that you bring excellence out of your team in every moment and expect nothing less. And most importantly, the way that you bring care and friendship and love to all that get to know you. So congratulations, there's no one more deserving than you, especially because she had perfect attendance from elementary school to middle school to high school. Somehow did not miss a single day of East Aurora High School. So congratulations, Mom. I love you.
Well, I don't have to say anything more, so thank you, Ian. Thank you to my family, my husband who nominated me, my sister who's always been my biggest support, and I have my friend from high school, Sue, and her mom drove all the way from Philadelphia, and my big surprise, my cousins, who are my dad's first cousins, who drove this morning. I think they didn't even go to bed last night to get here at this early hour, but thank you, and thank you to the foundation. So I feel like I've come home. We don't have any family anymore in East Aurora, but you are my family, the Roycroft. This is where I grew up, and my grandmothers were teachers at the school just down the street here. My uncle helped to build Parkdale. My grandfather was a crossing guard out here at the corner of Grove and Main. And my uncle was the maintenance at Parkdale, and we thought he was the best. And we got
to be a part of this. So I'm a very proud graduate of the class of 1982, and I'm pleased to welcome you here again to the Distinguished Hall of Fame event. We're proud to partner with the district once again to recognize these outstanding graduates. And as I reflect on this event since its inception in 2017, I think of a quote by psychiatrist David Visco. "Understand your gift," he states. "The purpose of life is to find your gift. The work of life is to develop it. And the meaning of life is to give it away." This group of distinguished alumni has not only found and developed their gifts, but they've also mastered how to give them away to their respective communities. And that is quite an achievement. The East Aurora School District has undoubtedly been at the foundation of this process. We have many people to thank for today's event. It takes a lot of coordination to pull this off. I'd like to thank Bill Roberts for organizing the high school segment of today's events. And for those of you that don't know about this, This is when the distinguished alumni go up and speak to the kids in the classroom, which is such an amazing event or thing to take part of, because it's so important to have the alumni tell their stories to the kids. I mean, telling our stories is something that's so important to pass on. And it's really good for high school seniors to hear, like, nobody's road is ever straight. Like, there's always twists and turns. And also understand how teachers or administrative assistants or crossing guards can have such a powerful impact on people. And I think it's just such a valuable story for the kids to hear and be a part of. Thanks to Nick Campoli, who's recording today's ceremony for those who may have missed it, like Rick Oler. I know Rick was really sad to not be here today. I'd also like to thank the members of the Distinguished Alumni Committee who worked diligently to make this day possible. Lori Eden, Rob Goller, Drea Kasparik, Jeff Markello, Susan McBurney, Rick Oler, Andy Schultz, and Don Vidler. We owe a very special thank you to retired high school principal Jay Hoagland, as well as our development director, Brittany Newman, for the many communications with the inductees, as well as ensuring that every detail was nailed down. I think that Brittany and Jay have a lot of fun communicating with you all. I'd like to take a minute just to share some information about the East Aurora Educational Foundation, because we still try, there's so many people out there that don't know this story. Founded in 1988 by a small group of pioneers and led by Dr. James Ford, the mission of the foundation is simple: to enhance the educational experience of the students at the East Aurora School District. We fulfill that mission by harnessing the creative and innovative spirit of our talented teaching staff and administrators, and provide grant money to bring their ideas to life to the classroom. The generosity of our friends in the community enables the foundation to do so. While the grants are too many to mention here, I'm proud to say that the foundation has surpassed the $1 million mark in grant to the East Aurora School District. As I've said in the past, I don't mean to brag, but a few of our recent grants include at Parkdale for $7,000, Empowering Readers, a book vending machine. And this is helping to motivate children for a reading incentive program for the students there. At the middle school, a grant entitled Where Everyone Belongs for $28,000. And this grant is a program that helps fifth grade students as they come up from Parkdale and they work through the transition. They partner with eighth grade leaders and mentors. There's also at the high school is the Sustainable Agriculture program that Bill Roberts had mentioned. This grant is the implementation of a learning and teaching farm for the school communities, which has an impact on all 3 schools. The program has been incredibly successful in teaching students about the importance of farm to table, eating local, and examining where our food comes, and sustainable agriculture. Believe it or not, they even raise chickens at the high school that lay eggs, and you can buy the eggs at the East Aurora Co-op if you'd like. It's been quite an experience. Again, congratulations to the 2024 Distinguished Alumni. Thank you for taking your precious time out of your busy schedules to reflect on your years at East Aurora and just how far you've come. And by the way, I heard you brought your letter jacket. Oh, that's great. That's great. And she says she can still wear it. I love it. To all of you attending today's event, please be thinking about potential nominees for next year's Distinguished Alumni Awards. To the East Aurora graduates, talk to your classmates. Discuss it at reunions or online chats. The criteria are listed in your program, and the application is on our website. It's really easy to fill out. We invite all to send nominations in. Thank you for everyone attending our event this morning. Distinguished alumni and the guests are invited up to the high school to speak to the students. Don't worry, family, you don't have to speak. It's just the distinguished alumni that will be talking with the students. But you're welcome to join us in their classroom. It's a really neat experience. So that's it for our program today. I think that we wanted to have the distinguished alumni meet for a photo in the courtroom or I'm courtyard? Courtroom. I got Bill Nye on my mind. All right. Thanks, everyone.